Hi there. Can this thing replace my home router? Of course it can. But it's kind of an overkill for just a router for my 1 gig network. So instead I'm gonna virtualize pfSense here. But it's not gonna be a simple virtualization. The network part will be very interesting. I won't be bridging any network interfaces. I will give pfSense access these PCI devices. It's called PCI pass-through when you give full access to the PCI device to the virtual machine. It's very interesting. So normally what Proxmox does is it controls those network interfaces. So in order for pfSense to connect to them, first he needs to talk to Proxmox, and then Proxmox allows the traffic to go through the interface. So that's bad in my scenario because this of course adds a delay, and we want the fastest performance out of a firewall, right? So what I'm gonna do is skip Proxmox and allow pfSense to access those interfaces directly. So that's what we call PCI pass-through. We give a VM direct access to a PCI device. But there's one problem. When I allow pfSense to access those interfaces directly, I can't log into Proxmox from my computer, right? So how to resolve this problem? I need to add another network interface, so third one. This is gonna be management interface. I will be able to connect to Proxmox graphic interface, and those interfaces will be plugged into pfSense directly, and that's how my firewall is gonna work. And also for Proxmox to communicate with the internet and other virtual machines, I want them also to connect to internet, of course. So what I'm gonna do is add interface here in pfSense. It will be a virtual interface, of course, and Proxmox will connect to pfSense, and then it will go to the internet. That's kind of a magic, but it's gonna work and it's gonna be amazing. So the first step is, of course, download the ISO from the internet. Of course, we need internet, so I have to unplug it from Proxmox because we don't have a firewall on there yet. And there we go. This is ridiculous. They want you to add your card and buy this thing for $0. What is this? So much pain. So once I downloaded this thing, I need to access the Proxmox somehow. So I plug my laptop into the interface of my mini PC, and also, as I said, I need to set up third network interface. So before I power it on, I plugged in this third interface. So that's how my current network status looks like. I logged into my Proxmox, and as you can see, I will configure the third interface to my management interface. I've come up with this network IP addressing, which wasn't used before in my network. That's just convenient for me. And don't forget to apply the configuration. I lost so much time with this button, oh my god. Of course, I need to make some documentation because I'm sure I will forget it like in a week, this IP address. So when the extra interface is set up with an IP address, I plug my laptop into it, configure a manual IP address on my network interface, and hopefully I will be able to access it. The 252 ending is an equivalent to /30. And the moment of truth. And we have access. Let's go. So that's how my current network status looks like. So now having this third interface allow me to create a virtual machine finally where the Proxmox will be installed. So let's name it according to its destination. Oh, we can't use underscore. Okay. Let's select the previously uploaded image. I will give it like 50 gigs. That's fine. This PC has like 16 cores. Let's see how it performs on 2 and 4 gigs of RAM. We will see. Let's not add any network device. So now that's where the magic happens. We will pass those network interfaces by adding a PCI device, and there's so many, but thankfully it's labeled. Let's select all functions and do the same for the second network interface, because this is a major requirement when having a router. It has to have 2 network interfaces, one for WAN and second for LAN. Okay, let's start this thing, and yeah, we have to accept something that everybody reads. And now we have to choose our WAN interface. So what I did actually is plug in only one cable, those 2 physical interfaces that I have in my PC. And the one that I plugged the cable in is labeled as active. So I know which one is it. I will use this one for WAN and the other one for LAN. I will leave the default configuration as it is. I will change it later. That's fine. Okay, install, let's go. Okay, let's not reboot just yet. Let's shut this machine down. And make sure, yeah, let's remove the ISO from the drive so it doesn't boot from it. And make sure the order is correct. Yeah, it boots from a drive, not from CD disk. Okay, it's kind of stuck there. Let's see, it asked me if I want to set up VLANs now. No, it's okay, I'll do it later. Let's type no. Select my WAN and LAN interfaces again. I don't know why, but it works. Let me add some labels before configuring this device so I don't forget which interface is which. And some time later I have this screen which indicates that it's working. So the DHCP server on a LAN port should be active. Let's switch my interface to DHCP, plug my internet cable into the LAN interface, So that's how my current network status looks like. And as you can see, I got an IP, so we should be able to access it via browser. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's great. It works, man. First thing we need to do is change our password because it's default password and we don't want a default password. So choose something secure. And as you can see, we have our LAN interface with a static IP and DHCP server running on it because it gave me an IP, which you can see here. I got an IP from this network, and that's one interface that is plugged into my ISP router. So that's my current situation. I have ISP router, which has static public IP address, which is freaking awesome, fiber to the home connection. And I'm plugged into his LAN port with my pfSense firewall. So it has a private IP address and the DHCP server running on this port. So I got this IP. However, this is not something I like because it's another point that adds delay in my internet connection, right? It has to translate every IP packet that comes into the internet and retranslate every packet that's coming from the internet. So instead, what I'm gonna do is put this thing into bridge mode, which will actually just disable all of these router functions. It will just act like a normal cable. So instead of this DHCP server right here, private IP addressing, I will assign this public IP to my pfSense. And that will make the situation a little bit better. It's not possible to remove this from the connection. My ISP told me I can't do that, unfortunately. So that's what we are gonna do. We're gonna go to my ISP router configuration and we are going to set the one port to be in bridge mode. So of course this will cut internet from all the Wi-Fi's. And now what I have to do is come to the WAN configuration and select PPPoE. I have to type login and password to my ISP services. I message them and they just send it to me. It's that easy. And save the configuration, apply changes, and hopefully we will be able to see a public IP address right here, and there you go. So I'm gonna blur this out because it's my actual public IP address, but hey, it's working. You have to trust me, it works. Since I have a public IP address, I will block private IP addresses coming from the internet and block those bogon networks also. We have traffic at WAN and LAN interface, that's good. Let's see how fast. No internet connection? Damn. Okay, that's the issue. It's the default gateway is set as the old ISP's router IP address. So we can delete it and set our IP address to one public IP address. And let's see. Can I ping this? Let's go. We have connection to the internet, but can we? Oh, we can. We can access speedtest.com because in general setup I configured two DNS servers because we have to have DNS servers for name resolution, of course. Let's see how fast my internet is now. Okay, so that's pretty much all you can get on this fiber. 1 gig fiber. That's great. Okay, great. It works. But what if I want to access Proxmox? I would have to unplug my cable from here, plug it into here, change my IP address to a manual set IP address. No, that's not okay. We're gonna do the second thing I told in the beginning. We're gonna set up another virtual interface for this pfSense. That way I can access Proxmox through this interface. It's gonna be great. So first I actually need to do this, and for the last time I hope, change my IP to a manual set address from the Proxmox network to access him, unplug my cable, and here we go. Under network interfaces, let's add a new Linux bridge. We have to come up with another network, so something like this. That's gonna be Proxmox address and /24, and okay, so it's gonna be Proxmox address. I'm gonna set it to 100, and he will be using this address as his gateway, which will be pfSense, but it doesn't know it yet. So that's Proxmox's gateway, and now we have to add this network interface to our pfSense router, but we have to shut it down first and add a network device virtual interface that we set up, and here it goes. Let's fire it up, plug myself into one port, and we will configure this interface. Alright, I'm in pfSense again. Let's set up this third interface, which we can see, yes, it's here. Let's add him, and let's go and configure him. IPv4 static, let's enable him. So we've set up 10.6971, mask was 24, and that's all, I guess. Okay, so now let's go and try to ping this thing. Let's go, we have a connection to this interface. And what about Proxmox? It was 100. We have a connection to him. Okay, let's see. And here we go. Let's go. Do you see this interface? Do you see this IP address? So that's great. And it's working. And that's kind of what it looks like now. Proxmox, when he wants to communicate with an internet, it talks to pfSense and it goes through a one link to the internet. All traffic comes from pfSense, and all traffic from future containers and future virtual machines will come through pfSense, which is really what I wanted. And also when I, from my laptop, want to connect to Proxmox, I don't need to plug my cable into management interface, which is gone by now. I unplugged it. I just type in the browser his IP address, pfSense routes me through this interface, and I can manage Proxmox. This is kind of crazy. This is magic of networking, but it's working and it's great and I'm so happy. Thank you for watching.